Good afternoon. I'm here to talk about dessert. I know a lot of you have had dessert, but one of my talents allegedly is making pie crust. And of course, I never taste the pies that I give away on the campus, but everybody tells me the pie crust is great. So I've joined the Chartwell staff today, and I brought my cookbook that shows how long I've been making pies. All these pages are falling out. I think that's a testimony to how good a cook I am, but I need recipes. And we're going to show you today how to make this kind of pie crust. And so I'm just going to make an 8-inch crust because people are always curious about this. And so the first thing you do is very simple. You just take a cup of flour and you pour it in a bowl. And then the recipe says for an 8-inch one crust pie, you take 1/3 of a cup plus 1 tablespoon of Crisco or some kind of grease. And you just basically put the Crisco into the flour. You can see what I'm doing here. And mix it just a little bit. And then the most handy piece of equipment you have to make a pie crust is what they call a pastry blender. And it's something like this that you can get at any Walmart or kitchen store. And then what you do is you just blend the pastry in there. You have to have clean hands, of course, you know, because you're putting your fingers in all this stuff. And you just blend it, and you're trying to make it the size of small peas. Okay, I think it's about ready. That takes just a good arm, wrist motion there. So anyway, then you just use a little bit of water. And you don't certainly use this much that I have in here. This calls for 2 to 3 tablespoons of cold water. And so you're mixing the water in like this. And ordinarily I would use a fork, but for my photography this morning I forgot my fork. And you just mix it in there, not too much. You don't want it to get too wet. And this, just a little bit. Again, it just takes, if you don't have a good wrist, it takes a little bit of wrist motion, but you can see what I'm doing there. I'm just making it all wet, but not sticky. Got to get it all so it pulls away from the bowl. You just have to get it so that it will all stick together. And then you roll it into a ball. Make the bowl as clean as possible. So take it out of the bowl, and then you're ready to roll it. So you've got basically your pie crust. Now here's a trick I learned. One of the things that I always had trouble doing was rolling out the dough. And so I learned to use, just on my own, I didn't find this in any recipe, I learned to use wax paper. And what I do is throw a little bit of water on the counter so that the wax paper will stick to it and not come up when you roll the dough out. Okay, if you have a little bit of time with it, to put this in the refrigerator will make it a little better, just for even 5 minutes, okay? But I'm not going to take time to do that now. And then, of course, you have a rolling pin, any kind of rolling pin. Put a little flour on it, and you roll out the dough. This is not, you know, some people think making your own dough would be very labor intensive. It's basically finished at this point. You roll out the dough, then you take a pan. Glass pans are better for making pies, so some directions say. I've used both glass and tin pans. And then shake the flour out a little bit, put this over here, and voila! And so then you're ready to put some ingredients in it. You've got a pie, what do I call this? Pie crust. Pie crust. You got a pie crust, okay?